Thank you for joining me today as we explore an important and often overlooked topic, and that's the ongoing challenges and opportunities of integrating those into our communities with intellectual and developmental disabilities, also known as IDD. It is estimated that between 3 and 5% of all adults in the United States have an IDD diagnosis. That is upwards of 16 million people. 80% of those require daily assistance from a family member or a caregiver. That's an additional 12 million people. Together, that's 28 million people affected in the United States by IDD. That's no small number. With a show of hands, let me ask you, when you grew up, did you live next door, or are you currently living in a neighborhood with someone with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, or a behavioral disorder? Raise your hands. Oh, nice. Lots of us. Now let me ask you this. How many of you have knocked on their door and invited them to join you for a movie, or go to a Braves game, or simply join you for dinner? Show of hands? A whole lot less of us. So today, I want to examine some history, barriers, contributions, and the urgent need for societal change to ensure inclusion for all. So let's get started. With historical context, in 1968, the Fair Housing Act was passed, and it prohibited discrimination in housing based on age, sex, race, religion, national origin, disability, or family status. And 20 years later, it was expanded to prohibit discrimination from landlords, banks, insurance companies, among others. And in 1990, many of you may have heard of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. This landmark law was passed to emphasize the rights of those with disabilities. And under Title II of the ADA, states were required to provide community-based services versus institutionalizing individuals. And in 1999, the Olmstead decision solidified our vision. The United States Supreme Court determined that unnecessary institutionalization of individuals with disabilities violated their rights under the ADA. Now, interesting, this landmark decision was inspired by the courage of two Georgians with IDD, Lois Curtis and Elaine Wilson. And this decision ensured that they had the right to live and receive their services in the most integrated setting possible. But we are far from achieving true integration. Challenges remain. Insufficient community resources, inconsistent state compliance, and the deeply ingrained societal attitudes causing barriers. For nearly 40 years, I have practiced nursing in many different environments and many different populations, from infants to the elderly, from hospitals to clinics to communities. For the last 10 years, I have owned and operated group homes for adults with IDD. These homes are meant to be inclusive, supportive environments. Yet every city, county, and municipality has a different set of licensing rules. I want to share with you an experience I had licensing one of my group homes. One of the surrounding cities, I sought licensure for a particular home in a particular neighborhood. And this city said that to have 4 unrelated individuals living in the same household, I had to seek a special land use permit. This process involved me going before the city council members and the community and neighbors and listening to their opinions and answering questions. So the audience was comprised of proponents and opponents to me having this group home. And at the end of the 4th meeting, the city council members voted unanimously for me to have this group home. So when I left the forum and I got in my car, I was quickly surrounded by no less than 10 or 15 community members preventing me from leaving. I rolled down my window and asked how could I help them. They proceeded to yell profanities, say they did not want those people in their neighborhood. And one woman even said she did not want her children having to look at people with disabilities. And then they proceeded to throw water on me inside my car through the window. I was scared. So let's talk about some of these barriers to inclusion. Historically, those with disabilities have been marginalized and stereotyped as being incapable of contributing in any meaningful way to society. And those perceptions still exist today. Many still feel that disability is an inability, and they fail to realize the unique contributions of this population to society. Discrimination remains prevalent. Those with disabilities are excluded from social spaces. They're underrepresented in the media, in leadership, and in community events. This lack of representation contributes to the idea that they are others and less deserving of inclusion. Many still are uncomfortable with diversity. Some fear change. Some fear that resources will be depleted, either in education, healthcare, or government funding. This mindset is stifling progress. Families and caregivers often bear the brunt of supporting and caring for those with IDD. The emotional and financial toil it takes is often overwhelming and exhaustive, limiting their ability to get involved in advocacy efforts. And then society's pressure to normalize. It discourages them from getting out and being included. Now, we've come a long way in legal protections, but we have a long way to go. Because our advocacy organizations lack the resources to truly influence social policy changes. Many of our community leaders lack training and awareness of this population, and they don't champion inclusivity. So why is community integration important? Integration of those with disabilities not only benefits them, it benefits society in countless meaningful ways. When their involvement in the community, our schools and our workplaces, they promote diversity. And diversity enhances the collective experience of all of us. They teach us kindness, loyalty, and patience. And then there are those with IDD that have skills that can be utilized in a variety of jobs, whether it's in retail, food services, manufacturing, or office work. Their commitment, attention to detail, and strong work ethic can be an asset to employers and co-workers alike. And some even start their own businesses, showcasing their entrepreneurial spirit. And then there are those with IDD that express themselves through music or art or other creative mediums. Their creativity contributes to the artistic richness of our society. Their works challenge conventional thinking and encourage others to see the world differently and to experience it differently. And then there are those with IDD that engage in volunteer work. They help others in the community. And their involvement in educational and in advocacy organizations is what has influenced the laws we have today. You see, developing a relationship with someone with a disability, it breaks down stereotypes and helps build a more empathetic, compassionate society. So you see, the value of those with disabilities goes far beyond themselves. But their contributions many times go unrecognized. So how do we drive true change? All of us play a role in shifting society's attitudes and fostering inclusivity. We all need families, jobs, friends, love, and a sense of belonging. We can all educate and advocate. Talk openly about IDD and challenge misperceptions. Talk to your fellow students, your work colleagues, your homeowners associations, your children, your religious institutions. Educate them about the contributions you're learning about today. Embrace diversity. Welcome those with IDD into your communities. Small acts of inclusion can have a big impact. The next time you're at the grocery store and you're ready to check out, choose the aisle that has a member of our IDD community assisting with bagging groceries. Introduce yourselves. Call them by their name. They all wear name tags. Thank them for helping you. And every time you go to the grocery store, take a moment to find that person and to speak to them. Again, let me say, small acts of inclusion can have a huge impact. Support families and their caregivers. Knock on those doors. Invite them to that movie or that Braves game or that dinner. It makes a big difference when you support a family and say, can I go with you down to the Capitol for one of the disability advocacy days? Can I volunteer at Special Olympics? Or volunteer at any one of the numerous fundraisers around town, like the ADMH Fun Run? And amplify the voices of those with IDD. Representation matters. Encourage them to join your committee meetings and listen to their voices. Many years ago, you may remember a show called Born This Way. And it showcased a group of individuals with Down syndrome. Yes, it showed their challenges, but it showed their capabilities, and it warmed my heart to see them included in the media. Representation matters. I leave you with this today. Integration is not only a legal obligation, it is a moral imperative. Together, we can all build a world where every individual is respected, valued, and included in the fabric of our society. Challenge yourselves to be leaders in this movement and invite others to wade into the uncharted waters of advocacy for the disabled. Let us all work to have a society where every member has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you for joining me today on this journey. Thank you.